why your tactics alone won't save you, specifically when related to productivity, your digital well-being, and procrastination. I was at an event this morning on digital well-being, and the amount of people in the questions and the comments were asking me, how do I prevent procrastination? How do I actually stay on track for the things that I want to do? And it's not just about tactics. A tactic might be, switch your notifications off or use the tools and systems to protect your time in order to help you to focus. But I think we've all been in that place where we put the tools and we do the cool color-coded calendar, we do all the things, and then we just find another way to read a book or clean our kitchen or doom scroll on something, or find a way to kind of get away from our own little protections. Because there's loopholes. We created them so we can uncreate them. So procrastination has to be something we consider that's deeper than that. Tactics are great to execute once you followed a couple of these points, but they don't really work on their own. And then we get frustrated and we think, God, I've been trying. What is the point? So 3 clear little points for you today. One is get clear. What do you actually want? You don't need all these tactics and tools. You actually need a clear purpose. And that can evolve over time. I know that when I was in my kind of darkest days in post-depression and, coming out of addiction recovery groups and trying to study and work and do all these things, I had to clear the fog. I didn't have a clear idea of where I want to get to now. All I had was the next right step. So I'm not saying get clear on your perfect life goal or your perfect purpose. Some people kind of always struggle with that a little bit, right? But you might begin to gather some clues about what you want. And it might start with what you don't want. I don't want to feel depressed and addicted anymore. I want to feel fulfilled in my work or feel confident in the skills that I have. Whatever that might be, you then think about, well, what will support me to feel those things and what will take away from it? And it's pretty simple and classic. If we eat sugar and drink loads of booze and don't get enough sleep, it's harder to put these tactics in place in order to look after ourselves. If we have the foundation right, where we eat well and we have good connections and community, we're more likely to be able to stick to those tactics and begin to gather the clues and information about what we do want, moving on from what we don't want. Number 2, get really honest with yourself. Procrastination is often fear in disguise, right? So it's, we think we're procrastinating and it's like this problem, but actually we might be afraid of success. We might be afraid of rejection. I've heard people say, I've been holding on to this dream for so many years. What if I try and I find out that's not really my dream, or it bombs, and then what have I got to hold on to? So we have all these different ways that we hold on to how we're thinking about something just to prevent us from fear of the unknown. And the unknown might be good unknown, but it's still scary for many of us. So this isn't really about laziness. It's actually fear of failure, fear of success, maybe of not being good enough. And then we get all caught up in things like perfectionism, which again is another just disguise for these same things, right? So get really honest about what's holding you back, because that's going to give you information about, okay, if I'm afraid of rejection, well, let me work on that in order to then do the tactics to move my life forward. And then Number 3, just get creative. Design for joy, not just for time. Like so often we're thinking I need to protect my calendar for this thing or this thing, and I've got all these things to do. But if you really zoom out on the calendar and the year and your life, how can you get creative about what would help the journey be joyful? What would allow you to enjoy the journey as much as possible as you're moving towards a certain goal? The tactics for many of us can feel punishing, but if we have a clear why and we're excited about where we're headed, even if it's hard to believe that any of it is ever possible and we're driving ourselves from whatever points of pain or purpose that you might have, it's completely fine. But we've got to start with that honesty. And then creativity can be fun. So I'm just kind of injecting hey, learning new things, being around new people. Some of this we could be grateful for, that we have the opportunity to do these things and protect our energy and our resources, the environment that will help those tactics to be more beneficial as we move on. Now, do remember, I fully get that there will be phases and seasons of our life that it will just feel hard. It will feel difficult. It's like changing the direction of a boat. You can't change it immediately. It doesn't feel like change at first. You still see the same horizon, but over time, Doing these small things and doing them imperfectly, but just learning from it, allows the rudder to shift and for you to turn into a completely different direction of your life. So get honest, get some boundaries, think about what is beneath the procrastination, and then just look at productivity, not just be about success metrics from someone else, but your success metrics, which might be being joyful, doing something I love, connecting with people that matter to me. Whatever it is, success is personal to you. And so really think, am I putting these things in place for what I really want? And if not, hey, maybe it's time to rejig the whole thing. Thanks for listening.